About 2 years ago, Indonesia launched its first high-speed rail between the cities of Jakarta and Bandung on the island of Java. It is pretty popular, but the thing is, it has a massive debt to the Chinese. Today, I'm going to ride this train to Bandung in first class and back from Bandung to Jakarta in business class, because last time I used it, I only was in economy class. And I want this train to be successful so we can pay off our debts to the Chinese. 2 years ago there were a lot of outlets here. Most have moved to permanent locations like this nice cafe where I had a nice iced latte, picture inserted probably now. Everything else is still pretty much the same. We have the ticket machines here. On that side you'll find the service desks, and on the second floor is the waiting area. If you travel to Bandung and forgot your clothes, you can still buy them here at the train station. You can also put them in a suitcase, those are right over there. A few changes have been made to the operations of the high-speed rail here. It runs about twice as much as it did 2 years ago with 62 journeys, that's 31 return trips every day. Also the infill station of Karawang has been opened. We will be stopping there on our way out, and on the way back we'll pass it because only one train an hour stops there now. Indonesians like their word intermodal, as you can see here. This is the entire line and it shows where you can transit onto. So the main station here in Jakarta is Halim, where we are right now. It connects with the light rail and of course Transjakarta buses. Karawang is, that's not much there. You can't even access it properly by highway as far as I've understood now. But the Larang is the main station for passengers to Bandung, because you can take a feeder train into the city that brings you to Bandung station, the proper station in Bandung. But we are going all the way to Tegaluar, which is way outside the city of Bandung and is basically in the rice fields. And if you know me, you know I like my rice fields. That's why I also visited the international airport of Kertajati, which is in the middle of fucking nowhere. This high-speed rail is part of the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative and suffers under massive debts, increasing debts though, because operations are unprofitable until now. They have merchandise now, that's really cool. I saw a model of a high-speed train. Let's see if we can actually find that here, I'm not sure. Kalau miniatur keretanya nggak ada ya kayak gitu ya? Saya lihat di cafe, tapi nggak resmi ya kayaknya. Jadi. Outside the bus station on our left, the taxi queues are also proper now. It's always a hassle in Indonesia to get this organized properly. So you have your official taxis, the blue ones there, and the online taxis, which are of course in higher demand because they were cheaper. And the buses are on the eastern side as well as the parking lot for passengers and those doing the kiss and ride and stuff. Oh, that's nice. They have buses from here directly to the international airport now, every 30 minutes. That's a nice improvement. And this is the Transjakarta that connects to the city bus network here in Jakarta. So that still basically looks the same, and all the shops have opened now, which is really nice. It looks really cozy nowadays. The model of the train is parked here now, just to be right over there. Everyone's taking the escalator, but I have feet at work and I'm not lazy. Right there is the highway. You can travel to Bandung in about 2.5 hours. This train is faster, although it doesn't really stop in Bandung. That's the main problem. First class is all the way up front, so it's a little bit of a walk. Business class is in the back, and the first class is up front. The Whoosh signing is in place now. That didn't used to be the case early on. It didn't really have a name yet, so now it's officially Whoosh. So, here's my first class seat. Let's have a look. It's empty. We are in the very nose of the train. The windows here are slanted already, look. And of course in front here is where the driver is, but we cannot go there. This train is also stopping at Karawang, which is the infill station. We'll be only there for 2 minutes though, but that means we probably won't reach top speeds on this trip, but we'll reach them on the way back for sure. Look at him, all official. As we are departing from Jakarta, a short history of this high-speed rail. In 2015, both the Chinese and Japanese bid for this project tender. The Chinese won and a joint venture was formed, in which 60% is owned by Indonesian companies and the other 40% by Chinese companies. The first stone was laid by then President Joko Widodo in 2016. And in 2017, a final agreement was reached for financing of the entire project. One of the initially planned stations, Walini, was soon scrapped as the first budget overruns were reported. The original price tag of $6.1 billion soon ran to $8.6 billion. Construction slowed and was even halted for a period during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2021 for Indonesia. And further delays arose as well due to construction constraints on some parts of the route. First trial runs without passengers started in May 2023, with commercial operations starting in October 2023. 2 years ago, when operations of this high-speed rail started, the restaurant area wasn't open yet. Now they're open and they're in the 5th carriage, so I have to walk back. I received a care package. Let's see what's in it, shall we? Sweet bread from Toulouse, little bottle of water, chocolate bar, some chips and a wet wipe. This included in the ticket price, but if you want more, you need to head over to the restaurant, which is 3 cars back. So this is how quiet the train is and how smooth the ride is. I'll show you my bottle of water in the window here. Yeah, it's just a little bit of movement. This train is really quiet. Of course, I'm in first class with no people around me, but also in business class it's really nice and quiet, and the rest of the train is economy class, so there will be more people, but still most levels are really low, way lower than any other train here in Indonesia. And of course, if you want to see more videos of this high-speed rail I made earlier, about 2 years ago, they are in the description below, or you might have a card on your screen right now. Landscapes vary widely depending on what side of the train you are. We have green foothills, but also Indonesia's busiest and stacked toll road, the Jakarta-Cikampek toll road. Highway to Bandung. As I have the entire first class to myself, I can sit where I want, so I just moved seats. We will be arriving at Karawang station in just a few minutes, and we will have a short stop there of 2 minutes before we are going towards the south again, continuing our trip to Padalarang, which is the main entry point into Bandung city, and then to Galuar, which is the remote final destination of this train. Financial woes from the early days of construction, ballooning costs for various exceptions, last-minute changes included, and suspected markup of construction itself, have eventually led to a pretty serious problem. Those increased costs have also led to increased amounts of interest to be paid on the Chinese loans. The suspected markups are under investigation, but when amounts are in the billions, do they really want to bust people for that? This must go pretty high up, and investigations will most likely grind to a halt over time due to a lack of evidence or evidence that disappears. We all remember the complete burning down of the High Court in Jakarta in 2020, do we? Total debts of this prestige project currently sits at some $7.2 billion, with the Indonesian government now being the guarantor of all these debts. China has earlier on thrown out offers from Indonesia to renegotiate any part of this debt, leaving Indonesia to scramble for cash to pay up, while operations of the train itself are unprofitable either. With much higher interest rates than Japan would have demanded, 2 to 3.4% against just 0.1%, and the rigid position of the Chinese, as they have firm contracts in their hands, it's pretty hard to see Indonesia get out of this one, except for simply paying off this massive debt to the Chinese, or risk losing sovereignty over the project. Indonesia's recently founded sovereign wealth fund Danantara has worked on several solutions, focusing on the $1.2 billion in cost overruns that aren't covered by loans from Chinese banks. The fund promised that no money from state budgets would be diverted to pay for this debt. But is using a newborn sovereign wealth fund the solution for this? You tell me. We're now walking to the economy class cars of the train. As you can see, my random late morning departure train is far from full, even in economy class. It is probably easy to understand why this train is still loss-making. During rush hours though, trains are usually pretty full. We are doing 317 kilometers an hour. Let's see if they have coffee. Siang, ada kopi nggak ya? Oh ya.
Ini ada kopi susu, ada kopi hitamnya juga. Yang mana kak?
Yang original ada? Nggak. Pakai kiris bisa? Nggak ada sinyal.
Atau mau cash juga boleh.
Cash boleh ya? Cash aja.
Silakan kembaliannya. Terima kasih.
Yang ini ya satu.
Yang ini kak.
Sip.
Terima kasih.
Empty seats, empty seats. So the coffee they sell on board of this train is Point Coffee, which is from Indomaret or Alfamart. I'm not sure, one of those, and costs about 10k. The price here is scratched out, and they'll sell it for I think 35 or 40. Yeah, 45. It's pretty steep, but oh well. I guess it's what you have for luxury. Otherwise, I should have taken the bus. Like I said earlier, it's tunnels, hills and mountains, tunnels, hills and mountains, but we are still doing over 300 kilometers an hour. We will be at Padalarang station, tunnel, in about 10 minutes. From there it's another 5 minutes to the final destination of Tegaluar, my final destination of the trip. I wanted to go to the final destination of this line to show you what it looks like right now and where it's located, and how to reach it or not to reach it by public transport or online motor taxis, because it's quite complicated there. This is how quiet my little 9-seater first class is. I'm still completely alone in this part of the train, with no people walking through either, as it's at the very front of the train. And I have a personal guard on the balcony behind me, prohibiting random plebs from entering my personal area here. This trip, the entire route of Indonesia's only high-speed train, currently costs 600,000 rupiah in first class. On the screen I show you how much it is in euro and in Trump shitcoins. I'd purchased my ticket through a third party, as I wasn't able to log back into my account with the operator directly. I gave up after a few tries. My personal assistant, well, I'm the only one in first class, so it's personal for me now, told me that we were about to arrive at Padalarang station, and yes, that's right, but I'm continuing to Tegaluar, which most people don't, and I'll show you how many people will get off here. Most of the train will be empty after this. So from this train station you can get onto a train that will be right there. It's a diesel train that will run from Padalarang station to the main station of Bandung, and takes about 20 minutes. So like I said, most passengers will get off here. This is how business class looks now. It's empty. We are about to depart from Padalarang, where 90% of passengers just got off, to the final destination of this train and my trip at Tegaluar, which is a 7-8 minute trip from here. If you watch my videos about the high-speed rail in Laos I made over a year ago, you'll see there's a lot of similarities. The train stations are pretty similar in design to the Indonesian ones, and of course the Chinese ones, but I haven't been to one of those, so I can't really tell you that, only from the videos I've seen. And all the stations will still have their own local touches, but the basic design is all the same. Where the Indonesian high-speed rail only runs these kind of high-speed trains, the one in Laos is slightly different. There are a number of high-speed trains of this type running, but there are also slower trains running on the same tracks, and these are not high-speed trains, and they will make more stops and are of course more basic than this one. Access to the station is by a few shuttle buses, but mainly by transport that is in the hands of hoodlums setting ridiculous prices and forcing online taxis to keep their distance, so you have to pay twice for a trip to or from here. The nearest regular train station, Cimakar, is a 3-kilometer walk via either a narrow village road without sidewalks or a trunk road with narrow sidewalks and the ill-maintained parking lots of Gelora Bung Karno Soccer Stadium. So you will take the motorcycle taxi that will charge you an hour and a leg. I'll be taking this high-speed train back to Jakarta shortly, but then in business class, which is right behind me as you saw earlier. If you want to see that video, please like this one, subscribe to my channel and maybe leave a comment which is good for the algorithm. To emphasize the remoteness of the majestic Tegaluar high-speed rail station, these are the views you get in the minutes leading up to arrival of the train. It's mostly rice paddies with mountains in the distance on the right side. The left side, not shown here, will be more city-like, but is mainly low-rise urban sprawl and villages clustered together on the very outskirts of the city of Bandung. As this urban sprawl houses millions of people, it's not completely in the middle of nowhere, of course. But its location and the lack of proper connections to anywhere but the taxi stand in front of it clearly shows that they went for the quick and dirty option of building here instead of actually making this train properly useful to many. See how remote this is? That mosque there is the Jabar Mosque, if I'm not mistaken, which is way outside of Bandung. That's it. Yeah, this train station is located in the middle of nowhere. It's no different than the high-speed train stations China built in Laos. The one in Vientiane is way outside of the city, as well as the one in Phang Vieng.